explain this to me, or to yourself. What was Avraham Avinu doing, arguing with the Eibishter? Huh?
He thought it was wrong.
He thought Hashem was wrong?
He thought what Hashem was doing was wrong.
He thought what Hashem was doing was wrong? And he's a tzaddik?
He just had a different look at what was happening.
Just at that moment, he didn't realize what it was doing.
He slipped there for a minute.
He looked for a minute. He looked at the aspect in a different way. He looked at the idea in a different way than Hashem did.
How can that be? Then he was certainly lacking in bittul. He is not the biggest tzaddik in the world. How could that be?
So then, on the subject, just a slight sidetrack on this subject. How is according to the same thing? How is Noach? They say he could have not been tzaddik. According to what you're saying right now, he would have been. He'd be even better than Abraham because he followed directly with what Hashem wanted. He didn't argue.
And he didn't
also,
die
that's
with
his
the
flaw.
generation.
He should have argued?
According to what we're saying right now, he should. Everyone says that the reason why Noach it says each tzaddik b'dairaisa hand wave. Everyone knows that. Is because he did not argue with Hashem that they should be saved. But according to what we're saying right now, that should have been an even bigger knock on the pet. Should have been on an even higher pedestal.
Or they were wrong. He did something. If he did something wrong, and Avram did something right by arguing back to Hashem, and Moshe did something right by arguing back and davening for the generation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that just adds to the question,
Mm-hmm.
which I can't figure out.
It's a very interesting thing. After the Mabul, what did the Eibishter say? I'll never do that again.
And he made it simple.
And yet, his omnipresence and omniscience, he would have known that he didn't want to do it, so why did he do it? It's a very common question that they have.
And there's also saying time to time that he shows the seven rainbow that he will never do it again.
So is it possible that the Eibishter wanted to bring the Mabul, but didn't want to bring the Mabul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm? I mean, that would make sense. Why would he want to bring a Mabul?
Want to purify the world.
Huh?
Want to purify the world.
By bringing a Mabul. So, it does make sense that when the Eibishter does something harsh, obviously he wants to do it, but obviously he doesn't want to do it. Like a parent disciplining a child. He wants to do it, but he doesn't want to do it. So when Avraham was saying to the Eibishter, you don't really want to do this, he was right. And the Eibishter agreed with him. Yes, if there are 50, if there are 45, if there are 40, if there... Yes. So Avraham was not offering an opinion against the Eibishter. He was expressing the other opinion of the Eibishter.
Hashem maybe was testing him to see he was going to destroy Sodom, and then Avram was trying to find merits in it, and then I'm saying for Avram himself, he wanted Avram himself to figure out if there were any merits. He didn't want to do a Mabul, but and Noach was expected to daven for the dar and save him, so they wouldn't have to do it.
So here's
to test him.
Here's an interesting way of looking at it. In the end, who was disappointed? Avraham or the Eibishter? Why was Avraham disappointed?
Because the Sodom was destroyed.
And why was the Eibishter disappointed?
Because
Hashem
the
could have found a
Sodom was
merit.
destroyed.
Because Avram could have found a merit.
Because Avraham could not win. Right? The Eibishter wanted Avraham to win. To bring out Midas HaChesed. You know, like that famous Avram Fried song.
Which one?
You've heard of Avram Fried, right?
Yes.
The Eibishter asks Rabbi Yishmael Kohen Gadol to give him a bracha. To give the Eibishter a bracha. Yishmael b'ni barcheni. And what was the bracha that Rabbi Yishmael gave him?
Your mitzvah chesed should always win over.
Which is really what the Eibishter wants. So if the Eibishter wants only chesed, why is there sometimes gvura?
Because as in your martial law, disciplining a child. The fact that you need to discipline the child. Which makes you.
So here's what we're basically saying. We're basically saying there is what the Eibishter wants, that he likes, that that's him. And then there is the kavanah for which he created the world that demands certain things. So for example, tzimtzum harishon. The Eibishter wanted to be mitzamtzum himself.
No. And yes. No and yes.
Exactly. No, because tzimtzum is not gili. Yeah, obviously. But yes, because
They have to be done.
so it says that the Eibishter regrets every day. He regrets creating the Yetzer Hara. Well, if you regret it, stop it. So stop creating the Yetzer Hara. Can he?
No, because it still has to be there.
So what is the difference when the Eibishter is punishing someone, God forbid, or the Eibishter is rewarding someone?
From what we said before, it sounds to be about the same.
Well, the gvura is in order to educate him, being punished,
And the reward is?
to encourage him.
The punishment is something he has to do.
The reward is something he wants to do.
Exactly. So the Eibishter sends Yidden down into Mitzrayim to be slaves for 210 years. Then he takes them out of Mitzrayim. And we're so excited. He's so nice. He took us out of Mitzrayim. Yeah, but he also put us into Mitzrayim. A person is very sick and he recovers miraculously. So, wow, the Eibishter is so great. Wait a minute, he made you sick. What's the explanation?
He had to make you sick. He wanted to make you breath better.
In other words, when he makes you sick, it's not personal. It's not what he wants. But when he makes you healthy, this is personal. He wants you to be healthy, not he needs you to be healthy. He needs you to go through difficulty, but he wants you to be happy and healthy. And so that's what it means that the Eibishter is Tachlis HaTov. If he's Tachlis HaTov, why do bad things happen?
Because they have to be done.
So how is he Tachlis HaTov?
How is he tachlis b'tayv? Because he kavyachol does it unwillingly when it has to be bad, but he does it extremely willingly when it's good.
That even when something painful is happening, he doesn't want it. He doesn't like it. He regrets it. Peace.
Okay, this is all very nice, but excuse me for being very cynical. He's Hashem, he could do whatever he wants. Why did he have to make it that there has to be bad stuff?
That's a good question. And that's why we're allowed to daven and ask the Eibishter to do it differently. You're an Eibishter. Do it differently. So when he can, he does.
He always can if he...
I mean, theoretically he can. But does that mean he can always cancel his kavanah?
One would assume so.
He can, of course, but the kavanah is so important that that's what it means. When the malachim came and complained, Zu Torah v'zu schara, the Eibishter said, "Be quiet, or I'll turn the world into tohu v'avohu." Was that a threat? Like he was bullying? Shut up, or I'll Well, that's what no. The Eibishter was saying. This bothers me a lot more than it bothers you. So what's the eitzah?
Stop it all.
Turn the world back into Tayu Vavayu. No. That's not a good plan.
The world isn't pure enough for it to be turned back into Tayu.
Is not pure enough?
Isn't, yeah, it's not, well, obviously the world isn't good enough to be turned back in, because if yeah, then Hashem would have done it.
No, Tayu Vavayu means not that the world will become perfect. Is that you cancel the whole plan. So the Eibishter is saying, I have a Breda, I can cancel the whole plan. But that's not really a Breda. Like, the Alter Rebbe did not have to go to prison. Right? He had the choice of...
He had the choice of just leaving. He could have run away, but then he asked more monkeys.
Yeah, besides that. He didn't have to go. Because he could have burnt down the whole Peterburg, right? So why did he go?
Because he wanted to.
He wanted to...
Because he had to, as a distinction we made before.
He made himself have to.
Because
Like Hashem, he made himself have restrictions.
in order
for the world to move on.
in order for Chassidus to become available, he had to go through it. So he did have to or he didn't have to? Make up your mind.
He
made
had
himself
to,
have
but he
to.
didn't. He had to, but he didn't want
He had to
to.
in order to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish.
He wanted to make himself.
What the story is saying is that just because the Tsar wanted to arrest him, he didn't have to be arrested. He could burn down Petersburg and get rid of the Tsar. No Tsar, no government can arrest the Alter Rebbe. So why did he go?
Because he not wanted to, but because he had to.
The entire city would have burned down.
He could have done a precision targeted from Fire's face.
So could you say, for example, the Alter Rebbe didn't have to go to prison, and there won't be Chassidus? Right? It's possible.
But there had to be, because that was part of the plan.
Right. So you say the same thing about the Eibishter. The Eibishter can cancel all pain and all suffering, and so there won't be a Dira B'Tachtenim. Right? I mean, theoretically, that's possible, but
Why can't he make a deer business plan without pain?
because then it's not a Tachten.
But he can do whatever he wants. So why can't he just do it?
He wants to do this.
He wants a Tachten.
He can do it, Tachtin.
A nice little Tachten. A Tachten that's not such a Tachten,
No, he can make a Tachtin that's completely a Tachtin without.
but without pain.
Yeah.
In other words, without...
Make it contradict itself.
Oh,
Or as if it already is.
yeah. So why is there pain?
Because that's what Hashem feels there needs to be.
Because that's what Tachten means. A world where there's no pain is not the lowest world. Which means like this, theoretically, if the Eibishter created a world in which there's no pain, and this world became good, became a Dira B'Tachtenim, it's theoretically possible that the Satan can come and say, big deal. Sure, you have a Dira B'Tachtenim because there was no pain. But if there was pain, people would never believe in you.
And theoretically, Hashem could just not make this up in the first place. Because if there's no pain,
Make the whole existence.
But what is the Satan? The Satan means a negative argument that you have to answer. Doesn't matter where it's coming from or who's saying it. If the world did not include pain, then pain would never become holy. And therefore, there's always the possibility that if there was a world of pain, the Eibishter would not be able to be Nizgala in that world.
So it goes to elevate pain, you're saying?
So when we say elevate the lowest world, then it has to have all the low things that get elevated. Pain is one of those low things. And that's why, even in a perfect world, the mitzvah of bris milah involves pain. Even for a tzaddik. Nobody did anything wrong, and already the world has to have pain. Because the mitzvah elevates the pain and makes the pain kedusha. That's why you're not allowed to give the baby anesthetic. The baby has to feel what's going on. Even though it bothers us that the baby is in pain, which is why you don't make a shechiyanu. Because how can you make a shechiyanu when the baby is in pain? So get rid of the pain. That's for malachim. That's not the dira b'tachtenim.
Can he cancel his kavana? Like I think that's where you're. The kavana of a dira b'tachtenim, it has to be tachtenim, has to be pain. Could he cancel that? Seemingly he could do anything. So then it's
Only theoretically. Theoretically he can cancel it.
And practically he can't.
The kavana is not a temporary desire that the Eibishter had that can go away or that can be changed or that can be cancelled. The kavana is deeper even than the ratzon. Which means, even though I don't want tzimtzum, I'm going to make a tzimtzum because the kavana is even deeper and stronger than the ratzon. The purpose, the goal of dira b'tachtenim.
Like I said, he makes himself happy.
Yeah, but that is more powerful than his ratzon. So he sacrifices his ratzon for the kavanah. And that's why it makes perfect sense that we should sacrifice our ratzon for the same kavanah. He sacrificed his ratzon. So people say, the Eibishter is being so selfish. He wants a dira
It's
b'tachtenim.
only existence that can consider himself a something.
He wants a dira b'tachtenim, so he creates us and he gives us a job and he makes us work hard to make him a dira b'tachtenim. How selfish is that? That's if you only know half the story. The fact is that in order to have this dira b'tachtenim, he has mesiras nefesh.
sorry, when you say theoretically, like I need food, I can't say, yeah, theoretically I can say I don't need food, I can eat something else. It means I don't really need the food. So you're saying that sure, yeah, he needs the dir b'tachtenim, but and therefore he'll make pain, but he could theoretically get around it, and then he doesn't. So how does that make sense?
It doesn't make any sense. Theoretically means intellectually it's possible. In reality, no.
What do you mean intellectually it's possible?
Because he can't.
We can imagine a world or an Eibishter without a kavanah. But the fact is he does have a kavanah. So
it means he has to have this.
Yep.
So it's beyond his control. You're saying he has a kavanah that's now controlling him like a demon?
no, beyond his control would mean something else is controlling him. But here, this is him. There's nothing else. This is him. See, so the question is, can he not be him? No, he can't not be him. He's an Eibishter.
So him and his desire are two separate things. His desire is so the opposite has to happen. So there's no theoretically he could have done it any other way.
Now, in reality,
It's not Hashem, so how can he not? How can something not be within it? You said it doesn't. Since he's everything, he can't do something that's not within it, but everything's within it.
right. So his need for Adira is not imposed on him from outside. That's him. That's an Eibishter.
You said Hashem had Mesiras Nefesh in order to make it like this. How does Hashem have Mesiras Nefesh?
He gives up what he wants. He wants gilui, but he makes tzimtzum. He wants only good, but he makes pain.
Hashem doesn't need anything more than anything. You can't explain it.
Mm. You see, I think that's what Avram Avinu, since we're in Parshas Lech Lecha, Avram Avinu recognized the Eibishter and destroyed all the Avodah Zarahs. What did he recognize?
Control.
He recognized that the Eibishter is perfect, not like the sun, not like the moon, not like the Avodah Zarahs, right? And he made fun of the Avodah Zarah because it can't beat up the bigger Avodah Zarah. The one thing he did not know until the Eibishter spoke to him is that this perfect Eibishter wants something. You can't know this unless the Eibishter tells you himself. And that's why everything that Avraham accomplished for 75 years before the Eibishter spoke to him, including the Mesiras Nefesh that he had in not believing the Avodah Zarah and so on, he still didn't know that the Eibishter also has Mesiras Nefesh. That he didn't find out until the Eibishter. Huh?
Why does he have to sacrifice?
Why?
His will.
What?
His will. Mesiras Nefesh means giving up your will.
I know
It
it.
doesn't mean dying. So again, what did Avram Avinu discover when the Eibishter said to him, Lech Lecha? That the Eibishter has a personal interest in Avram. Nobody knew that. Because when you think about what an Eibishter is, you come to the conclusion that the Eibishter doesn't need anything because he's perfect and he's complete and he's above everything. That's what everybody thought about the Eibishter until the Eibishter said, no. I like you. I want you. I'm not a machine that is perfect. I have feelings. I have personal interests. And when you do a mitzvah for me, I take it very personally. And when you do an aveda against me, I take it very personally. That's what Matan Torah told us. And to some degree, that's what the Eibishter told Avram. So Torah actually begins with Avram. Yeah.
So, to basically put what you just said, to understand. So Hashem, like in the core of Hashem's Kavyachol, is this Kavanah, and everything else is just to drive forward this Kavanah, so to speak. So Hashem can't go against this Kavanah. Anything else he does, it must follow this Kavanah.
He made himself nothing else.
Which is exactly the same as saying the Eibishter can't help being an Eibishter.
I just wanted to make sure I understood.
So then people say, oh, so he can't not be an Eibishter? Then he's not perfect. That's ridiculous.
He's a perfect Eibishter.
Exactly. If he were able to not be an Eibishter, then he would be imperfect. So can he make a rock that he can't pick up?
Yes, and then he can pick it up.
He made himself nothing, as we said. Kavanah.
But there is something that Hashem can't do, from what you said.
Right.
Which is go against this overarching Kavanah. He
But
can't
that's
do
him.
that, no matter what. So he cannot go against himself.
Exactly.